What's a good way to avoid yelling at other people about faith stuff? We're going to think about that today on Now at Devotions from Trinity Lutheran and Cyrus. It's been a bit since I have felt the time and mental energy available to film some devotions, and I apologize for that. It's been a busy summer, but trying to get back in that rhythm. I'm out here at Scandia West, out at First Cemetery and Scandia Church, and thinking today about why it is a part of the faith and religious life that we expect church-type people to yell at other church-type people, which is a question Jesus has too. And he is also someone who gets yelled at by the churchy people. In the early church, one thing that people did not do was talk to other people outside of the church about significant faith issues. And that might sound a little crazy to you, but the value that the very early church seemed to place highest in their writings and in the things they left us behind was patience. And they wanted to show people love through patience and kindness and service. And they wanted to really be as consistent about that as possible. And it wasn't until people asked them about what it was they believed, or until people had asked them a few times and then expressed interest, and the individual judged that person as somebody of wisdom, that they would actually say anything about it at all, for fear that their faith would be misrepresented to others, or for fear that they would be persecuted by others because of the misrepresentation of their faith. A friend shared with me the other day that they had been shamed by somebody or just corrected by somebody because they hadn't prayed before their meal, or like at the right time, or I mean, it's not that they don't say grace, they just hadn't in that instance. And they were just sort of, what's the word? They were flummoxed about it. And it just reminded me of all the times in my own life where somebody has corrected me about how I should believe or act or do those things, and there has not been one single time in my life when that correction led me to a deeper connection with God. Not once. Now I'll tell you, things that have led me into deeper relationship with God are experiencing other people's love and service, seeing how they live and how they are faithful, having thoughtful questions asked of me by faithful people, and not questions that were like, do you think if you loved Jesus more, then you would? No. Questions like, what's scaring you? Why are you afraid? How can I help you? What are some things you've been thinking about? Where are some places you go when you need ... Like those kind of questions were incredibly helpful, especially from people of faith who had walked those roads. But it was never prescriptive. It was never in like, here's the answer I expect from you. Because those are forms of judgment, right? And early Christians were so worried about this for good reason. In our text today, we're in the book of Luke, chapter 14. And Jesus says to his disciples, he has been on a tear on the Pharisees. He just is about to go to dinner with one and got back from another, and he just rips them up. He says, you guys are ridiculous. You guys are totally missing the point. After he got berated for not washing his hands before a meal. And he says, don't talk to me about outside cleanliness when you are not expressing inside cleanliness. How might we, as the church, be those who work so diligently on love and trust in God that as we do that work, others see what we are about and ask us questions? And our response to them is not answers. Our response to them is care, which is always Jesus' response. The last thing I'll say to you, Jesus is very clear with his disciples. He says, they say, Jesus, are you telling us all this stuff? This is after our section in Luke in chapter 14. He says, Jesus, are you telling us all of these things, or are you telling everybody all these things? And he says, to those who know, more is expected. To those who don't, patience is shown. Do we show patience to those who don't know? And mind you, there are plenty within our church walls who are still expressing a faith that is about rules. How do we show patience, kindness, and love to them? Because there are rules to be followed. But grace is the lexicon, the rubrics through which all of that goes. I'm Pastor Chris from Trinity Lutheran in Cyrus, signing off for now.